Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, Gilly.
Hi, Niall.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Corey, I can't see you. Are you hiding?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. And it's always so interesting as people sign on. It's quiet. I have y'all muted, but we've got so I just sent out the final email. We have 50 people registered. Let's see how many show up. LinkedIn's a popular topic. You know, it's LinkedIn. It's like you can never learn enough. Mm-hmm. So we'll just let everyone wait till everybody pops on. While people are hopping on, I thought I'd ask a fun question. I don't know how fun it is, but we'll ask. So and some of you that have been on my Friday calls, you've maybe even answered this one. But what is an app on your phone that you use the most, or that you maybe have found the most useful?
I use Insight Timer for fun.
Which one?
Insight Timer.
What does that do?
It's a meditation app.
Oh.
It tracks your sessions and you can have friends and all of that stuff. So it's a meditating social network.
Oh, that's really cool.
About the only app I use.
Huh.
I'm not very techie in that respect.
That's okay. It seems actually like that'd be a pretty useful one. Anybody else?
Use the Great Clips app.
The Great Clips app. What is that for? Scheduling your haircuts?
Rebook your haircuts, show up, and you're the first one on the monitor. It's quite useful practically.
That is useful. That is very useful. I'm a little addicted to Instagram, so I don't know how useful that is, but that's the app that I waste a lot of time on for fun. So, hi everyone. To those of you that have joined us, we're just hanging out and waiting for all the other people to hop on. We had over 50 people register, so we'll see. We'll just give everybody a few more minutes before we begin. And in the meantime, we are just sharing our favorite apps on our phones. So, I know this is a webinar, but also this is a great time for you to network. So you are more than welcome to sit there quietly, but I highly suggest that you say hi because we're also here to network, right?
Hi.
So don't be shy.
I think the weather app's very useful.
The weather app?
See what the temperature is going to be.
Yeah.
I ask my wife and she looks it up.
It only says one thing in Arizona. It's going to be hot.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that. It's always hot.
I'll give you two apps. So I use the Notes app all the time to write scripts and ideas and everything. Also, if you're doing live video from your phone and you have it on a tripod or something, you open up the Level app before you go live and make sure your phone is level. And then hit record and you're good to go.
That is a good one. Thank you. I used that app when I was hanging up a big mirror at my house one time. And it was actually the very first time I was hanging up something big by myself when I had moved in here. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I didn't actually have a level tool. And I was like,
it's pretty good.
There's an app for that. Sure enough, there's an app for that. And so like the most ironic thing happened. This was a few years ago. I hang up the mirror and I hung it up perfectly. I was so proud of myself. And that night we had an earthquake here in Phoenix, Arizona, which like never happens.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? Like this was like 4 or 5 years ago, and there was an earthquake. And at first I was like, what just happened? I thought maybe like a car had run into the building or something, like what was that? Like my mind didn't go to earthquake, but there was an earthquake. So I'm like, how is it of all nights of all the times in my life that I go to hang up a mirror and try to get it perfect, there's an earthquake? Maybe I caused the earthquake, you guys.
Don't hang anything else up.
You're the one.
Yeah, I've hung up a few things since, but nothing as big as that mirror. So, but it was good. Yeah, so more people are hopping on. That's awesome. So, are you guys excited to talk about LinkedIn today?
Yep.
It's a pretty hot topic, right? I put together the presentation that, whenever I put together a presentation, I like to spend a good week on it because things just come to me, right? I'm compiling content. I mean, I actually save a lot of examples just as I go through my own LinkedIn. So I'm going to be able to share a whole fun slide with you, or not slide, but it's like a little slide presentation of all the examples of LinkedIn messages that I get. I think those are always fun. So I was putting on the final touches, and then I got somebody commented on my LinkedIn post, and they shared this amazing image with me. So it's in my presentation, but I'll just share my screen here for 1 second and show it to you. So just in case anyone forgot why they're here, this is why you're here. You're here because you don't want to be that guy. Right? The meme says, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn and then messaging me 5 minutes later with a sales pitch. Yeah, it's right here. You don't want to be that guy. That's why you guys are here. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Was that?
I had someone get my cell phone number from my LinkedIn profile after connecting and then called me. Like, I've never spoken to this person, and they use it just to call me with the sales pitch. So that was the worst.
Wow. That's not good. I'll tell you one story. This is also many years ago. I'm going to say like 12, 13, like maybe 13-ish years ago. I was actually doing sponsorships for this company, and it was a pretty big company. It was well-known people in there. So it was easy. Like, when you're looking for sponsorships and you mention like a celebrity name, like they're more apt to kind of listen to you, I guess. And so that was kind of the deal with this company. And they wanted me to get a sponsorship from this one particular company. I went on LinkedIn and I actually found the CEO's cell phone number. I don't know why he had put his cell phone number on his LinkedIn, or I don't know what happened, but somehow I found, maybe I just have amazing stalking skills. I don't know, but I got his cell phone number and I called him and I was like, listen, this is, and I told him, I said, I know this is like a really random phone call, so I apologize for that in advance. But, here's kind of why I'm calling you. And I gave him the names associated with it. And yeah, we actually had a really good conversation. It wasn't quite a fit, but he wasn't too offended by it. I don't think he was, but I think it's because I also set it up properly. Like I told him, I was like, I know this is not typical. I typically don't just call people off LinkedIn, but anyway, so, yeah, that was my LinkedIn cell phone story. I think a lot of it has to do with presentation. Okay, so my cell phone says 12:06, so I think we should probably start. And if anyone else joins later, that's fine. So for any of you that ever run webinars or have ever thought about running webinars, I mentioned this before one of my calls the other day. There's typically a 50% rate of people showing up, right? So 50 people registered, and we have, we just have 30 on the call, so that's actually better than 50%, but just kind of as an FYI, because I had somebody tell me, oh, I only want 40 registrants, so I'm going to cut registration off at 40. I'm like, if you want 40 people there, you better open it up to like 100, so just kind of a quick little FYI for anybody doing webinars. So, but let's go ahead and begin. So again, today we're talking about networking on LinkedIn, and in particular, we're going to talk about how to engage prospects in better conversations, right? Because it's the networking, is the engagement. We're still looking to build those relationships. I'm actually going to share my screen at this point, so all of you can see my presentation, and I want to cover a few housekeeping items, okay? So number one, so smile, you're on camera, right? Unless you actually have your camera off, I can see you, everybody can see you, especially if you have the gallery view going, which I always have the gallery view going so I can see everybody, even though you're little, like very little squares on my screen. Please keep all questions until the end. I won't be able to see the chat because I'm sharing my screen. The chat doesn't quite come through properly. So if you have a dire question, please just unmute yourself and ask me, because I most likely, I will not see your chat, all right? I do encourage you to close down your email and anything else you might be doing to get the most out of this presentation. Also because I'm just such an amazing presenter and I know you don't want to miss any word, okay? True story. And I am recording this, all right? So if you do miss anything, I will send the recording out to everybody. So those are just a few housekeeping items now. And again, for those of you that are just joining, in case you forgot why you're here, because you don't want to be that guy, that gal, you know, that person that connects with people on LinkedIn sounding super spammy and then starts selling immediately. Like I'm sure you've all experienced this, and I'll tell you why this is happening and how to absolutely avoid this trap. So, but now for reals why you're here, okay? Because you're way underutilizing LinkedIn, and know that when used properly, it can actually generate business. It can generate money. I mean, LinkedIn is one of the largest, you know, networking sites, and it's like the largest networks in the world globally. So you're jaded by all the spammy messages that you receive on LinkedIn, and you don't want to sound like that guy. All right, I've ever used that line. It's not funny anymore. We're still in COVID era, and online networking is where it's at right now. It's just this, right? That's just the truth of it. I mean, we're still like, while some people are doing face-to-face, a lot of people still aren't leaving their homes. And because of that, the activity on LinkedIn has increased quite a bit. So here's what we're going to cover today, okay? Why it's important to have a solid LinkedIn profile before you even start engaging with people. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. This is a whole separate webinar that I taught earlier in the year. But we're just going to briefly touch on it. Why you have to narrow down who you're targeting on LinkedIn and how to do that. Very important. And then also how to do a basic search. And then of course, how to craft a solid winning notice to elicit a response. Okay. So some of these things we're going to spend just a little bit of time on, just so you have some foundation, and then we're going to get into the crafting. Okay, so make sure you stay right until the end to get all your questions answered. Again, it's going to be very difficult for me to see the chat, and I'll be sharing the link to the LinkedIn formula and checklist. All right, so these are all the things I'm going to share with you today. I know this is always a hot question, so I'm going to answer it beforehand. So here's some templates I'm sharing with you. Here's an actual sample one that I did with one of my clients. Very recently, this is the formula, the actual formula of how you're going to craft that note. And then this is a LinkedIn profile checklist. Okay, so lots of goodies for you. And and then what not to do on LinkedIn. Okay, so or on the request. So I will share a link with all of you at the very end. So you got to hang in there with me. Okay, back to the presentation. So a little bit about me. Some of you, I mean, I see many familiar faces, so I know many of you know me, but I do see some new faces. So very, very quickly, let me just introduce myself. My name is Gelly. That's like Kelly with a hard G, Gelly. It's short for Giliana. That's another frequently asked question. So let me just answer that for you. And you know, I accidentally launched my business during the 2008 economic crisis. One, I wasn't actually looking to launch a business, and two, I had no idea the economic crisis was about to happen. But in December of 2007, I was working at JP Morgan doing internal employee communications, and my manager pulled me into the office and said something about me needing me to work more hours. And I don't even know, but like, you know, in the cartoons where all of a sudden they're talking, but their voice goes womp, 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 womp. I have no idea what she was saying. And I looked at her and I said, well, then I put my 3 weeks in and I quit. And we both like looked at each other and we're like, what? It was literally like out of a movie. I had not planned on quitting. I had no idea that those words were going to fall out of my mouth, but that's exactly what happened. And she looked at me and she said, Gelly, are you sure you can like think about that? Take that back if you need to. And I'm like, no, if I said it, it's real. Like, I can't take that back. How do you take back? I quit. I don't want to be here anymore, you know? So I accidentally quit. And I was like, well, if I accidentally quit, then I've got to launch my business. So I had this hobby as a website, Networking Phoenix, and I decided that it's time to work, you know, to do it for real. And so we launched the website on January 1st, 2008. And as all of you know, the 2008 economic crisis happened. Everybody got laid off. People started to network. They all landed on my website. We skyrocketed overnight. I mean, it was unbelievable. Talk about being at the right place at the right time. But obviously none of this was planned. So fast forward to today. All right. Networking Phoenix is, well, this is, you know, we can skip this. Let's just get to this slide. So we have over 43,000 members that are part of our community, which are comprised of business owners, entrepreneurs, marketing, sales professionals, really anybody that should be networking, right? So I'm sure every single one of you falls into one of these categories. And it's really meant to be an online and offline resource. right? Because you go to the website, you find where the events are happening, you go and meet people face to face. We're not doing that in COVID times, but essentially that's what holistically, that's the very quick, you know, who I am and what Networking Phoenix is about, just so, you know, those of you that are new kind of get an idea. So let's do this. I want all of you to get a little bit familiar with the chat box. So type in yes if you're excited to get started. Also, this will help me to take attendance. So please don't be shy. Please type in yes or no if you're not excited. I mean, I won't be offended, but go ahead and, you know, type something in there for me so I can, you know, it'll be easier for me to see who's on the call. And then, again, for future, if and when you do have questions, you'll be able to use the chat box or the chat, but also I don't mind you unmuting yourself as long as you don't have crazy sounds going on in the background. Okay, so let's start. So let's talk about your LinkedIn profile. This is where we have to absolutely begin at. Did you know, okay, and a lot of you probably do, but when someone Googles your name, your LinkedIn profile will show up 90% of the time in page 1 of Google. Okay, so your LinkedIn is crucial. And I don't know how many of you have Googled yourself recently. My daughter actually, oh my gosh, I picked her up from school yesterday. They're in school, thank God. But I picked her up from school. She jumps in the car and she was so excited. She's like, Mom, all the kids got in trouble today because we were Googling our parents. And she's like, and I didn't even Google you. I just put in networking and a picture of you came up. And I was like, oh, that's the cutest story ever. But Googling your name is, I mean, it always shows up, right? So if I do actually Google my name, and I'm, you know, all of you, I'm sure, you know, you can do this test too, but like, look, LinkedIn is right up here. So we've got my website, and then we've got all these pictures of me, and then we've got LinkedIn right here. So if your LinkedIn isn't representing your brand properly, that's not where you want to be. So the first question for you to ask yourself is, we're going to look at some sample profiles here in a second, but the question I want you to keep on your mind as we're looking at these examples, who is your profile catered towards, geared towards? Like, who are you talking to? Who's your ideal audience? Because my guess is most of you could actually be talking to multiple types of audiences, right? I mean, you've got different potential clients. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, your product or service could cater to a 25-year-old female or a 65-year-old male. Are you going to talk to them the same way? Probably not, right? So the question is, who are you actually talking to on your LinkedIn profile? So let's look at some examples. Okay, so your header, okay, your header right here, where it says virtual networking calls for entrepreneurs and business owners. It needs to be super clear, right? Should be super obvious who you're talking to and what you're offering. So on mine, right now, again, during COVID, I updated it. Like, what am I doing? I'm offering virtual networking calls for entrepreneurs and business owners. There's not much confusion here, right? You know exactly what I'm offering and exactly who it's geared towards. Here's another one. This is Tisha, okay? So, and by the way, can everybody see my screen? Okay, let me know if I need to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, I see heads nodding. Okay, good. So here's Tisha. Oh, okay, I just zoomed this in. Okay, so hers is authentic with a touch of badass. I help entrepreneurs get started and level up their brand to stand out and make an impact. Does she cater to every entrepreneur? Probably not. You know, if her badass comment doesn't appeal to you, then you're probably not her avatar. Does she care? No, because she's not talking to you, right? So do you see what I mean? You've got to be talking to your avatar. And I will define what an avatar is, but you've got to be talking to your ideal client. Okay, here's another quick one. Morella, helping unfulfilled, unhappy, and burnt out professionals match their strengths, talents, and superpowers with a career they enjoy. Okay, so what I like about hers is helping unfulfilled, unhappy, and burnt out professionals. So if you love your job, you're not Morella's audience, right? So again, this is what I mean. You've got to be talking to the right person. This guy, also clean and just super clean. Considering owning a franchise, I can help at no cost to you. Let's get started. Makes sense, right? I don't need to know that he's the CEO of anything or that I don't need to know his title. Tell me who you are, what you do, and how you can help me. Very simple. There was another one I came across yesterday, and I really like this one. I help spiritual, woo, witchy women and men create absolute magic with their brand. Okay, so if you are not spiritual, woo, or witchy, she's not talking to you, right? And it's like, great, she doesn't care because you're not her person, okay? So this is what I mean. Your LinkedIn doesn't need to be talking to everybody. It needs to be talking to your specific audience, okay? So this was just very quick examples I wanted to show you. We're not gonna go through how do we create this. I do teach on that, but we're not gonna do that in here, in this class. Now, I keep talking about an avatar. So what is an avatar? So in marketing, an avatar is a little fiction that helps us understand who our ideal customers are, so we can more easily find them, right? It's literally a story. Like, we're literally creating a story about our ideal client, and we're going in pretty deep psychologically. The avatar focuses on one person and outlines everything about them. It goes into much greater depth than a regular marketing persona, providing marketers with many more targeting tools. So really, it gets very, very psychological. Okay, so that's what an avatar is. I just wanted to kind of define that for you as I'm running through this. So, okay, so that kind of covers the profile. Again, very quickly, I'm not spending a lot of time on this. We're going to move on. Okay, but one last thing before I move on. I just want to show you one other quick thing about the profile. I quickly talked about the header. Make sure that your image is professional and updated. And also make sure that you have a good cover photo that really describes, again, your brand, because your LinkedIn is your brand's, it shows your brand off like really, really well. It should when done right. Okay, so let's talk about, again, very quickly now, how to do a search. Now I'm talking about, this is a very basic search and I'm going to spend very little time on this. But again, I feel like I can't talk about connections and requests until I give you some fundamental basics here, because these are very frequently asked questions to me. You can get very fancy with LinkedIn searches, and you can get very advanced on the free profile, and then of course, even on their paid version. I'm going to show you quick and dirty on the free profile. Okay, so various strategies. The first one, you could literally search someone's connections with an industry keyword. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let me, I should have had my LinkedIn pulled up. Let me pull up really quick. Okay, so I am going to go into my search. This is how we do a search. Okay, so pay attention if you're not sure how to do search. You click in the search bar and all this stuff comes up here. Okay, so I'm going to click on the, okay, I clicked on the little eyeglass thing right here. And I'm going to click on all filters right here where my mouse is, all filters. And so this window opens up for me, okay, with all the filters. So now I can select, do I want first connection, second connection? Here's the connections of. So if any of you were doing a search and you wanted to find connections of one of the most connected people in town, that would be me. You could literally put my name in here, right? You could say, I want connections of Gelly. So like, let me show you a quick example. All right. So I'm going to do a quick search. Okay, Corey's on the phone and he was the first one to sign on. He's like the first one on my list. So if I wanted to search Corey's connections, I would put in Corey Berg. Okay. Connections of Corey Berg. And then I can easily, again, whatever your criteria is, you have different options. I'm going to maybe do like a keyword, all right? So Corey's in this, you know, he's related to the software industry. So let's say I was looking for software. I could put computer, so computer software pops up, or not computer repair. That's not what I meant to do. Here we go. Custom software development. Maybe I do that. Or let's see, does it allow me to put in, here's the industry computer software. So you know, you could choose one or the other. Sometimes I like to play with the different options because it'll actually give me a different search. And so if I want them to be, again, doesn't matter to me that they're my first or second, because I'm just saying, okay, I want them to be Corey's connections. And then let's say I want them to be in Phoenix. So I'll select Phoenix. We're going to click apply. And I'm going to get 124 results, right? So this is now here's the strategy. If I want to get to these people, I could be, okay, well, they're connected to Corey. So if I wanted to talk to David, I can message Corey and be like, hey, Corey, do you know David? Could you maybe give me an introduction? right? So that's where it works to actually do a search with somebody's name in it so that you could then go ask for introductions, right? So that's a strategy. All right, so let's look at our next, like I said, I'm gonna go through this very quick. Alumni of a school or university that you went to. This is a super quick and easy one. I went to ASU, so I'm gonna clear my search right here. I hit clear. Now let's say I want, my second connections that went to Arizona State University. I'm gonna click apply. 42,000 results. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have to narrow down my search a little bit more. But for some of you that maybe went to smaller schools, maybe like, Thunderbird or, Keller, like maybe different graduate schools, it's always a good idea to connect with your alumni. There's no reason not to, especially if they're open to the connection. Okay, but that's how you would do it. So I just showed you that quick little search right there. And the third one would be groups. Okay, this is a fun one. So I'm gonna clear my search right here. And I'm going to click on, let's see, how do I go to groups? I don't want to search people. Here we go. It's right here. Sorry. Sometimes they move things around all the time. So, okay, here's where we search for groups. It's under the search bar, and see this drop down in people. I'm actually going to scroll down and go to groups. And in here, I can type in different keywords. Okay, so let's say I'm interested in networking. So I'll put in networking in groups. And over 100,000 results came up, right? So again, there's ways to narrow your search. But let's say, okay, so here's this group, Net Party, business and social networking events for young professionals. I don't know if I still qualify as a young professional, but let's say I think I do. So I'm going to click on this. And here we go. So now I can see the group. So if I wanted to, oh, you know what? I'm actually a member of this group. I wanted to show you a group I'm not a member of. Okay, let's look at this one, Network After Work. I don't think I'm a member of this one. Okay, good. So I'm not a member of this one. So if I wanted to join, see, there's a request to join right here. So I could request to join. And if and when it gets accepted, you can actually start connecting and talking to people within the group. So I'll show you how that's done in this group since I'm already in this group. But I could click on see all members. And even though I'm not connected with, like, here's Sabina, right? She's right at the top. Now, I'm not connected to Sabina. She's my third connection, but I can message her because we are in the same LinkedIn group. Do you see that? So that's really cool. Now, the annoying part, I should say, is I can't really filter. I mean, there's 31,000 members, right? So LinkedIn doesn't really give me a way to filter, but, and there's a lot of people in this group, 31,000, but they're, again, you could use the strategy in different ways. You can maybe do a search for people that you want to connect to and then look at the groups they belong to and join those groups, right? So there's so many, we're not talking about LinkedIn strategy right now per se. So I can't go too deep into it, but there are a lot of different strategies on how to search, how to find, how to connect, how to message. I'm just showing you like the basic quick and dirty little searches here. All right. So there we go. So someone's connection, alumni of a school or groups. So those are the searches. So again, if you have questions, happy to answer them later. I just want to make sure we have enough time to cover everything because we only have an hour. So we're going to move on. Okay. So the third piece we're going to talk about, this is actually what the whole class is about. Okay. So how to craft the connection note. So let's dive into this one. So before I tell you what to do, I'm going to tell you what not to do. And I'm sure all of you have seen this. Don't send a request without a message attached. It's bad LinkedIn etiquette. Tell people why you want to connect to them. Don't write multiple paragraphs or ramble on. Please get straight to the point. Nobody wants to read a novel. Nobody has time to read a novel. Okay, so it's bad etiquette to write a lot. Don't pitch your product or service in the connection request. Right? I'm sure you've all seen this. It's horrible. Don't use the generic, I'd like to add you to my professional network. Oh, you don't say. That's why you're on LinkedIn? Wow. Gee whiz, okay? It's really silly. If you're going to send this, you might as well not send anything. don't automate the connection process, right? It's tacky. People can tell that, and you're going to look really silly, especially when you say something like, how do you enjoy working at Gelly Media? Oh yeah, I could really tell, you really want to know how I enjoy working at Gelly Media. That's just my consulting company, right? It's like not even Networking Phoenix. So clearly I get questions like this all the time. Now, why and how? Well, some of you know this, some of you may not, but LinkedIn does not like it when their users use third-party automation tools. However, there's a plethora of third-party automation tools out there that are available. And if you plug into one of these, you could literally go in and say, all right, I am looking for, people in the Phoenix area that have, CEO or founder in their title, or coach, right, or consultant in their title. And there's all sorts of different criteria, and you set up your criteria, and then you're going to set up the note that you're going to send to them, and it'll pull in their name, it'll pull in their company name. So all you do is you send out one message, and it's going to hit a whole bunch of people at once. So somebody like me, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I can see the automated messages a mile away. I don't even respond to them. It's not worth my time, right? I respond to the ones that actually took the time to write me a message, because I'm a good human. And if somebody takes the time to write me a personalized note, I'm going to respond back to them. Okay. That's just the general, this is how we network. This is how we build connections. Okay. We're talking about, again, if you're talking about mass marketing, you're in the wrong class. This is nothing about me is mass marketing. Like everything about Gelly and everything Gelly teaches is how do we build solid connections and relationships. So you need to sound like a real person. And we're going to look at some examples, right? Because again, everyone's tired of these spammy messages. So let me show you some of the messages I've captured that have been sent to me. Okay. I don't know these people, and I didn't take the time to cover their names, so I apologies in advance. But so this guy wrote, "Hey Gelly, I am fascinated by what you're doing with Gelly Media. I would love to connect and explore some ways in which we could bring value to one another. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's talk soon." Brian, thank you. That's so sweet. I don't know what you're fascinated by, what I'm doing with Gelly Media, because it's just kind of a consulting company that's just out there. Networking Phoenix is really what the company that I push everything through. So clearly he ran some search. I was a part of it. He grabbed my title. Am I going to respond to him? What do you guys think? No, I'm not going to respond to him. It's a waste of my time, right? He didn't take his time. Why should I take my time? This one. I like this one. Let's see what you guys think. Okay. Hi, Gelly. I'm Mikal Breaker. Mikal is in the Taj Mahal. If you're open to expanding your network, I would love to connect. Hope that's okay. I'm now entering the world of LinkedIn. Mikal Breaker, certified life coach. What do you guys think of this one? Give me some feedback. Somebody unmute themselves.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. Okay. Corey says it's horrible. Anyone else? No one else has an opinion? Someone else has to have an opinion, but you guys are on mute.
What does it have to do with the Taj Mahal?
She's telling me how to pronounce her name.
Yeah, McCall.
Oh, I see.
As in Taj Mahal. Yeah, it's kind of cryptic. She apparently doesn't know you're Networking Phoenix.
No.
If you're open to expanding your network, you probably are.
Right. Thanks, James. I probably am. Yep. So did she take the time to research me? No. So this is a mass message. Am I going to respond to her? No. I'll connect to her, but there's no engagement. Sure. We're connected on LinkedIn. Woohoo. We're friends. Big deal. It's meaningless. It's completely meaningless. Okay. So I'm hearing a bit. Okay, we're all muted. Okay, so here's Rob. Hi, Gelly. I'm growing my network of other businesses and professionals who face HR and benefits related questions, and I noticed that we have some common connections.
I hate these ones.
I would say this is probably one of the more common ones that I face, and possibly a lot of the other tech folks do also. And it seems professional, but it's completely tangential when you look at the content.
Yeah, and it's like it's a pitch and this weird half attempt at saying we have mutual people in our network, and it's like totally coincidental. So there's no reason to accept that one.
No, yeah. Or I could accept it, but I'm not going to connect or engage, right? And the whole point is we want engagement. Okay, so yeah, you guys are spot on. Here's Gerald. Hi, Gelly. I love connecting with fellow Sun Devils. Looking forward to connecting.
If it was a small school, it would be different.
Yeah.
Julie, what was that? I heard Anthony, but I didn't hear what
I
you said.
said, a big deal if this was maybe on Facebook or something, but isn't LinkedIn supposed to be a business platform? So, okay. It's meaningless. For me, it would be meaningless.
Right. Yeah, there's no meat behind it. Now the question, am I going to connect with him? Yes. Now here's the thing for all of you, like I'll connect with people, but I won't engage with them. Right. Unless it's personal. So, but yeah, like you said, there's nothing about this is going to be like, oh, Gerald, you're a fellow Sun Devil and the rest of the city. Oh my God. You know, like there's nothing exciting about this one. Okay, here's this one. Hi, Gelly. Ross Euclid says you are the queen of networking, and by your networking Phoenix side, I would agree. Hope to connect with you. Does this sound like a super personal one? Yes. Okay, so she took the time to, I mean, clearly this is not a generic one, right? So I responded, you know, hi, Kimberly, nice to meet you, and I'll make sure to thank Ross for that introduction of me. Would you like to be added to my notification list of upcoming networking events, right? I mean, she's clearly looking to network, so that's why I asked that, you know, so, you know, and she was interested. My point is I engaged immediately. Like when I see that somebody wrote me a personal note, I will engage immediately. Or, you know, a month later, but immediately when I see the note. I'm not saying I see the note immediately, but when I see the note and I see that it's a personal note that I engage. Okay, here's another one. Hi, Gelly. Looks like we know a lot of the same people. Would you be open to connecting? Wow. I mean, this one just wins the prize. It looks like we know a lot of the same people. Okay. And does anyone know what the LION means in his name? It means that he's a LinkedIn open networker. That means he'll connect with anybody and everybody. That's what that means, in case anybody was wondering what LION stood for, LION.
Why would you what's the benefit to putting that there?
Because a lot of people actually are open networkers on LinkedIn and they just like to connect with each other and get as many connections as possible. And for whatever reason, they boast it. Like, I don't know if it's an actual strategy of some sort, maybe. I'm not sure. It's not my strategy, so I'm not 100% sure.
LinkedIn also used to take points away, if you will, from you if you tried to connect with somebody and that person turned you down. And so basically it's a way of saying, if you try and connect with me, I'm not going to IDK or I don't know you. And so it's safe to connect with me. That was the good side of what it meant.
Yep, that's right, Rick. Thank you for that reminder. Yeah, and I don't know if LinkedIn does that anymore, but yeah, if you try to connect with somebody in the past and they said I don't know you, you would get dinged points. So, all right, let's see. We have some more. Okay, here's another one. This one was interesting. Hi, how are you? As you can see on my profile, I'm a full stack remote developer who has specialized in React, React Native, D3, Python, CMS. If you have any remote working, I can help you successfully. Okay, and so I responded to him because I came up in his search because on my profile I talk about software and startup, you know, so I probably came up in his search and he sent me this note. I actually thought this was a decent note again because I'm interested in what he's offering. So that's the difference, right? If I'm actually interested in what he's offering, it's like, okay, his note's good enough, you know, because if I'm interested in his services, I'll go research him. So I responded and I kind of tagged him and I tagged him. Okay. I'm hearing some background noise. Let's make sure we're all muted. Okay, thank you. Okay, and then we've got, let's see. Okay, here's this one. Hello, Gelly. I came across your profile through some mutual connections and love your mission to connect Phoenix. I recently moved back to Phoenix after spending more than a decade in New York and Southern California, and I'm eager to connect with smart, ambitious people such as yourself. Right? I mean, you guys see the difference. Like, I don't even have to explain what the difference is. But there's a formula here, and we're going to talk about the formula, right? So first she tells me, okay, so she tells me she came across the profile through mutual connections. Okay, no problem. And that's actually good, you know, if you do have mutual connections in common. And maybe if you can use somebody's name, that's even better. Like that one woman did. She said, Ross, right? She said, Ross Euclid sent me your way. So, I know Ross because he's part of the network. And then she tells me, right away, she tells me that she took time to actually research even a little bit about me. Love your mission to connect Phoenix. Then there's nothing generic about this. This is not an automated spam message. She's validating. Okay. I recently moved back to Phoenix and then she tells me about herself, like why is she connecting into me? And then she tells me again, you know, and here's why I actually want to be, and she's flattering me, which is nice. I mean, I don't need to be flattered, but listen, if someone's going to pay me a compliment, you know, and it's a genuine compliment, I'm going to like it because I'm human and that's just the natural human response. Okay. So very good note that Christine sent. And then here was another one. This one was interesting too. Okay, Derek. He says, thank you so much for reaching out. It's great to connect with you. I'm a software consultant in the Phoenix area. I have several clients. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. I think I put these in the wrong order. Here, it was like this. So he connected to me and I don't remember what the initial connection was, but I didn't, before I even had a chance to respond to him, he sent me this note, which was interesting. He says, hi again, Gelly. I watched your TED Talk. Amazing story coming all the way from the Soviet Union where you are now. I like the choices you have made and how you communicate with others. I also found myself in a situation I hated, granted not as extreme as immigration, you know, compelling story, by the way, and was forced to do something about it. I think you bring inspiration to a lot of people, including myself. I felt oddly refreshed after watching it. Thank you for sharing your website and background with me, and I hope I will get a chance to speak with you in the future. Have a great Friday and wonderful weekend. So, like, he took the time to tell, first off, he took the time to watch my TED Talk. He engaged with my content. So there's a reason I'm sharing this. He engaged with my content. That's one of the strategies, is to get people on your radar and get them to talk back to you, is engage with whatever they're putting out there. So when somebody tells me they watched my TED Talk, I'm not going to sleep well at night if I just ignore them. You know what I mean? Like I want to respond to a nice comment and engage with him. So what did I say to him? Hi, Derek. Thank you so much for the note and taking time to dig around my digital footprint. Would be happy to connect and chat. Good developers are hard to find, so it's always good for me to have options on hand, right? So I don't remember when this came in. I don't know if this came in first or second, but my point is we actually ended up getting on the phone and had a quick networking conversation, right? So this worked well for him. Why? Because he took time to actually do a little bit more research than just send me an automated note. And then I get, you know, we've looked at so many, I don't even know if we need to look at any more, but yeah, this one I like from Victor. Hi, Gelly. I love and respect your story of being a political refugee and chasing your dreams. It's inspiring to say the least. I fired you an email to, and this is my wrong email. I'm hoping this is the best way to contact you. So again, he took some time. This person didn't. Hi, Gelly. It's great to meet you. I was noticing on LinkedIn that we share a few mutual connections in common. Looking forward to networking with you. So there you go. Just sharing some examples of, you know, so you saw some good ones, you saw some not so good ones. So the formula for the connection requests, let me find it here. Right. So there's an actual formula. These are and I have these, instead of putting these in the presentation, I put them in this document because I'm actually going to share this document with you. So that's why I switched screens here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So somebody whose content you found on LinkedIn, or you did a search and you came up with people that you want to connect with on LinkedIn, and you now want to go look at their content. By the way, if you want to know how to find somebody's content on LinkedIn, let me show you how to do that, because maybe not everybody knows how to do that. So, okay, let me pull up Emily, okay, just because she's the first one that popped up. So I can pull up Emily, and How do I do this? Did I just forget how to do this? Oh, it's right here, activity, sorry. I thought it was up top. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up Emily. So let's say Emily's in my search, you know, maybe we're connected or maybe we're not connected, but I can actually see some of her content. So I can look at her, this is her featured content that she put up here, which means it's very important to her. So if it's very important to her and you want to connect to her, that means it's very important to you to look through, right? So you can look through her content, and or you can actually look at her activity as well and engage with some of her posts. So here's, if I want to see her activity, I'm going to click on see all, and it's going to show me all of her activity. And if I want to see what her posts are so I can engage with her posts, I'm just going to click on posts. Okay, so here's what Emily's posted. She posted this 2 days ago, right? It's very recent. So if I wanted to engage with her, I can go give her a like, I can give her a comment, right? So I didn't actually read this, but right. So you can look at this, you can leave her a comment. Now I'm engaging with her. So let's say I actually saw one of her posts in the connection request. I would mention that. Hi, Emily, I recently stumbled upon your LinkedIn article, post, video, right? Whatever it was about, you know, and give her the topic, right? So this topic was, you know, you never know when someone needs the extra 30 seconds with you too. So I didn't actually listen to the video, right? So I don't know what the topic is, but we would put the topic in, and I was blown away. I couldn't agree more about your take on that topic and knew I needed to try and reach out. I'd love to connect and keep up to date with your inspiring content. So what I like to do with templates is I like to take them, but put them in my own voice, right? So if you don't sound so bubbly, don't write so bubbly. Write like yourself, right? But you see the template, like where it's like, hey, you know, I enjoyed your content and I agree with you and I'd like to connect with you to see more of your content. Okay, something simple like that. You know, somebody like a celebrity influencer, thought leader in your industry, you know, hi, so-and-so, I've been following your content and I'm so impressed with all you've accomplished. I recently read or listened to like interview or watch the video of you, right? So a lot of people will talk about my TED Talk because I have it on my LinkedIn profile. I'd love to discover more about your work and support you. Okay, so, but again, you're going to have to do the search and you're going to have to come up with a list of people that you want to connect with. And then you're actually going to have to look at their LinkedIn profile, maybe even do a Google search to see what information you can gather about them to put in the connection note. Okay, and then here's one that's somebody that went to the same school as you, right? So ASU may not be so exciting because a lot of people went to ASU, but when they're smaller schools, the alumni network is actually a lot tighter. You know, hi, Emily. I see that you graduated from my current university or, you know, or same university. It's so inspiring to see alumni making their mark. I'm a blank major and would love to learn more about your work, blank person's current employer. Okay, thanks so much. So again, I'm giving you, this is more, I'm actually going to show you a real example of one with the alumni. This was more of a template for people to edit. Here's one that I did with an alumni for a client. Okay, so the school that he went to was this one right here. And it's, you know, their alumni network is again tighter than ASU's. And so we weren't sure how to start the search for Antonio, that's the client on LinkedIn. So we started with the alumni, right? So an alumni of the school, I'm hoping you would be open to connecting as I'm growing my professional network on LinkedIn. Thank you for the consideration, Antonio. And then he wrote something in Spanish, right? And something that actually talks about the profile. So he's showing this person that he looked at their profile. So those would be the connection requests, right? Those would be the connection that sound real, that aren't spammy, that aren't, you know, just no one's going to respond to. We're trying to make them engaging. Going back to the presentation, again, what content did they make public that you can hook into? This is going to be one of the best things that you can use in order to actually make your connection note relevant and engaging. what content did they make public? And you may not find it on LinkedIn. Sometimes you might have to Google their name. This is why I recommend that you actually have a small list of people that you're going to go after. I talk about that later in the presentation. I talk about that in the strategy. Okay, so hold that strategy thought for a second. We're gonna come back to it here in just a minute. But the content is going to be important, right? Again, like I said, when somebody tells me that they took time to watch my TED Talk, I don't take that lightly. It's 18 minutes of their life. Even if they skip through it, you know, I'm gonna remember it. Like, they're gonna be in my consciousness. So we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that note. Oh, the follow-up note. Okay, that's where I wanted to go next. Okay, so that's actually all I have for the connection note. I want to keep saying, does anyone have any questions? But I asked all of you to hold your questions till the end. So that's why I keep tripping up over my own self. Okay, so hold your questions till the end. But okay, so thank you for the connection notes. So there's a follow-up note in the process, right? So once they've accepted your request, now you want to engage them in the conversation. Right now, there's more, and your follow-up note isn't going to be this horrific meme. Oh, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn, and then messaging me 5 minutes later with a sales pitch. Okay, we're not going to do that. So the whole point is to build a relationship. I'm going to skip around here for a little bit, but keep in mind the magic number 7. What is the magic number 7? Some of you know, some of you don't. In order for you to resonate in somebody's consciousness, they need to have 7 touches with you. You need to engage with them 7 times. Okay, so what does that look like? So you connected on LinkedIn, that's 1. You send them a note, that's 2. Maybe you actually engage with one of their posts, that's 3. You're gonna send them a follow-up note, that's 4. Maybe they respond, you know, but really 7 times of interaction is what you're going for before they actually recognize you as somebody other than the hundreds, thousands of other people on LinkedIn trying to get their attention. It works the same way in face-to-face networking, right? Have you ever met somebody, or, you know, you see them again at an event and you're like, oh, hi, nice to see you. And they're like, oh, great to meet you. And you're like, oh, we met before, and they have no idea who you are. That happens to me all the time, like both ways, right? Where like people forget me and I've forgotten people. Because if you just meet somebody once and there was nothing that stood out in your mind to remember that person, our mind just forgets. Okay, so 7 is the magic number. This is an old advertising trick. So this isn't something Gelly made up. Like, all advertising companies know this. They know they need to hit you 7 times minimally for their product to register in your mind. It's the same with people. So the point of the follow-up note is to keep creating that connection and relationship, right? The point of the follow-up note is to build on the connection, start building the relationship. So here's a note I send people, okay? This is literally what I send people after we connect. Hi, Kimberly, thank you for the connection request. If you'd like to check out my weekly virtual networking event held every Friday, please click below to get the invite with all the details. We get anywhere between 20 to 30 participants on each Zoom call. I tell who we cater to. Thanks again for connecting, and look forward to getting to know you better. So the difference here is that I'm actually not targeting Kimberly as a one-on-one client. I'm kind of softly, warmly inviting her to one of my calls if she wants to join. It's very simple, right? Now, others of you might actually be looking to connect with people to pull them in as one-on-one clients. So that's a bit of a different strategy. So that's why I'm clarifying this. Not every single person I connect with on LinkedIn, I try to pull in as a one-on-one client. For me, my top of the funnel is to get them into my networking calls, right? So that's my marketing strategy. But here's what we did with Antonio, right? So this is one note that we wrote, and we've played with it a few times now. So I'm not even saying this is the final end all be all, but hi, Ray. Thank you so much for accepting my request. Your profile showed up in my search when I was looking for Monterey and Keller alumni. Great minds think alike. Looking through your profile, you're clearly very accomplished and have had a wonderful career. As for me, I'm a retired electrical engineer who couldn't stay retired and have no interest in playing golf all day. While I was in my electrical engineering position, I was also involved in Toastmasters for 25 years, and it really helped me accelerate my career. If you're not familiar, Toastmasters International is a nonprofit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills through a worldwide network of clubs. On the off chance you might be interested in visiting a Toastmasters Club meeting, they're all virtual right now. I'd be happy to have you as my guest. Looking forward to hearing from you. So I would almost even say this is a little bit too long, and that's why I said I preface we're still tweaking it. We're testing it, and that's a very important thing with LinkedIn is you have to keep testing and seeing which note works. Some will work better than others. So here's the formula for this follow-up message. Okay, so now you've connected with them. That's wonderful. Okay, this is the guts of it. Each message must be personally handcrafted and written for one person only. You're going to stalk the person, literally, like look at their LinkedIn. You're going to Google them. You want to flatter the recipient. When done right, these messages position you as knowledgeable, professional, with a very relevant and timely message. Otherwise, why are you reaching out to me? Right? I mean, you've got to tell me like what you need, why this is relevant. The 3 psychological triggers contained in a well-crafted message: personalization, relevance, and brevity. And those of you that have gone through my 8-week program, this is going to look very familiar with you because this is also how we write a warm introduction email, but it is absolutely the same on LinkedIn. It's got to be personalized. It's got to be relevant. Why are you messaging me of all people? And it's got to be short, right? The main point of the first sentence within the email is to get them to read the second sentence, right? Email or message. I mean, just, you've got to grab their attention. More so in email than on a LinkedIn message, but still relevant. So message of the body, meaningful connection, value statement, credibility URL, soft invitation to connect, and email signature. I want to say I had an example pulled up. I did have an example. I'm going to show you guys a real life example that this person sent me and got me to engage with them. Okay, so keep this in mind. I'm going to toggle between the two right now. So we're going to start with meaningful connection. Okay, so this person messaged me. I don't know him. He messaged me on LinkedIn. And he said, oops, where is it? Right here. Hi, Gelly. Hopefully you remember me. I joined AEPI at ASU in fall of 2000 and was in the house with Eldad, Evan Brom, etc. I actually don't know this guy. I don't remember him, but he told me how we could be connected, and he gave me my friends' names. I know Eldad and I know Evan, and I was like, oh, okay, clear. This guy isn't kidding. We actually, either I should know him or we're somehow connected. So meaningful connection. Okay, right here. This is where it starts. I'm reaching out to you today because I see that you have a connection with David, who is a recruiter for Chewy. I am currently in the job market and I'm pursuing all angles in order to find employment, which is why I wanted to send you this message. Okay, so he's giving me the value statement, credibility. Okay, he's like, this is who I am. He's trying to validate himself as a person. While you may not be aware of the extent of my background, I wondered whether you might be able to assist me by reaching out to David and mentioning that you're aware that I've applied for the buyer position and that maybe he can look out for my application. My background does meet the parameters of the job description. Okay, this guy wrote me such a good note. I, again, immediately responded and actually reached out to this guy, David, and I don't know David. Because there are a lot of people connecting to me and I don't know who they are. So, but I still reached out to David. I wrote him a note. Now they ended up passing on Michael. He told me, we had a long conversation afterwards, but this is how he got me engaged. And the main reason I got so engaged with him, well, there was a meaningful connection. Now you're not going to have a meaningful connection with every single person you're trying to connect, but if you can create that meaningful connection by, telling them maybe you are somehow connected and you don't know it. So do the research. That's why putting in someone's name in the search to see how you might be connected to that person is a really good idea, because then you can actually use that person's name and say, hey, Niall, I see that, you and I are both connected through Jane. Right. And that automatically it's like, oh, Jane, well, it's just, the mind just, automatically does its thing. We like soft, warm introductions. So this is the formula. And again, I'm going to share this with all of you of how do you actually craft this message. And there's some more information here. I'll let you read it. Just describes each one a little bit more. I just gave you the real life example. So that's the connection note. So very quickly, I've been talking about strategy the whole time, but again, just to give you a visual, I suggest you do a search and find 10 to 20 people that you would like to connect with. As you saw, when you do a search, you could get anywhere from like 100 to 1,000. So literally pick the 10 profiles that you want, 10 to 20 that you actually want to engage with. Test out your connections on these people, test out your messages on these connections, and then engage with them. or if they're active, comment on their posts, right? I mean, this is like, there's no magic formula. This is work. You've got to get on LinkedIn and you've got to be active and you've got to talk to people, right? I mean, networking, connecting, building relationships. If they're not active on LinkedIn, follow up with them maybe once a week for a while. See if you can get them somehow engaged, again, with personal content. Most sales happen after the 12th follow-up. Most people don't follow up more than 2 times, if they even get to 2 times. Okay, but most sales happen after the 12th. The biggest drop-off, I think, is after the 5th. Follow-up notes should be very much geared towards the prospect, right? Personalize them as much as you possibly can. They should be able to read the note and think, oh, this person actually took the time to read my profile, right? Like again, I've been showing you examples the whole presentation. The goal is to build a relationship and get yourself into this person's consciousness, like I said, with the 7 touches. Ideally, you want to get a one-on-one call or Zoom with this person, right? So you've got to work up to this ask. You can't just send them a message, a connection. Oh, you've accepted my connection request. Great. Let's schedule a call. I'm available on Tuesday at 7 a.m. Are you? No, I will not be available. I mean, people actually do that. I mean, it's horrible, you know? So, but if you create, like look with this guy, remember I showed you this guy, I didn't know him at all, but he took the time to write me this nice note. I was like, oh, you know, I actually want to get on the phone and talk to him. He made me want to talk to him, which is not easy, by the way. That's an art in itself. So that's the strategy, okay? You've got to psychologically profile people, okay? You have to psychologically profile people in a sense to see, like, is this person a bit more formal? How often do they use LinkedIn? You know, if this person looks very active on LinkedIn, then, you know, the prospect might be open to a networking conversation much sooner than, like, if they're not as active on LinkedIn. So every person, every prospect, every profile is going to be different, right? I'm trying to give you kind of all the tools to kind of scan and look at to see what would be the best approach. So as a recap, you need to know your avatar. Okay. You need to, if you've, like, we'll talk about this in a second, but if you've never done an avatar worksheet to get to know your potential clients or referral partners in a very deep psychological kind of way, and you're running a business, like that doesn't compute to somebody like me. That's a marketer. All right. That's something you've got to do. Make sure your profile is set up to speak to your avatar. Again, like this woman. Okay. If you're an engineer, she's probably not talking to you. Simple as that. Okay. So, but she doesn't care. She's looking for the witchy woo people. Okay. So, know how to search for people on LinkedIn, write relevant personalized connection notes, and follow the connection follow-up note formula that I gave you, which is this one. Oops, I'm sorry. Where did it go? I moved it, which is this. Nope. I lost it. Where did it go? Hope I didn't close it. This one. Okay. The LinkedIn connection follow-up note. This is the formula. If you're not getting responses, run another search, create another list, and keep testing. Just because it doesn't work once doesn't mean anything. Okay. You've got to keep you keep testing it. You'll find that formula. I tweak my notes all the time, constantly, even to this day. I'm always changing, always tweaking. So you'll find some that work better than others. All right. So we have a few more minutes. I know some of you might have to drop off, but what I very quickly want to mention, again, for those of you that are new, this might be of interest to you, and then we'll take questions. So I'm literally going to spend like a minute on this, and then we'll take questions. Okay. So this might be of interest to you is, I am I'm running the very last 8-week networking certification course of 2020. I ran it. This will be the fourth time that I'm running it this year. And I specifically cater this 8-week course to people that network for businesses, right? So it's geared towards those that have to run the business and then actually have to do the marketing themselves. So you're doing a lot, and you're not a marketer by nature. Okay. You don't know how to copyright necessarily. You don't necessarily know the psychological aspects that you need to put into the marketing. How do you connect with people? So, here's the 8-week at a glance. Actually, you know what? It's a little bit bigger. Put it a little bit bigger here, but very quickly. So week 1, obviously we get to know everybody, and I give you the formula of how do you authentically connect with any stranger. Week 2, we go over the customer avatar. This is the actual customer avatar form that we use to dig deep into the people. Week 3, powerful presentation on the latest research of how our minds work. Like a lot of times people think, oh, networking is this, it's networking. I show up, I exchange business cards, and that's I call that networking. No, that's probably called wasting your time. Okay, that's not networking. So we talk about the discussion of, there's so much science on how to connect with people face to face, and like, right. So I give you all those tools, all that research I put together in one presentation. Week 4, you've got to know how to tell your story. Oh my God, when you're networking, you have got to get people to buy into you because of who you are. And there's a way to do that. And it's not, oh, you know, my name is, and you know, this is my business, and we've been in business for 25 years. Oh, that's so exciting. Tell me more about your business of 25 years. Said no one ever. Okay, that's not exciting. So you've got to be exciting. So there's a way to like connect people into you emotionally. So again, this is what we talk about. I'm trying to like skim over this and go fast because we're running over time. But week 5, copywriting. I find that most people, even they don't know how to, even if they know how to put together a good email, grammatically proper email, it's not copy written for marketing. If you're talking to your prospects, if you're trying to get the person on the receiving end to do something, the email has to be written in a very specific way. Okay, so that's week 5. Week 6, we actually put somebody in the hot seat and we compose it together. People love this because this is where you see it all come together. Week 7, we talk a lot about LinkedIn. Week 8, how to properly communicate with your connections via mass email platforms like MailChimp, because this is where you generate sales. Again, how do you write a mass email? Even if you have 100 contacts, it's not so mass, but how do you write an email that still sounds personalized and gets people to join your webinar or gets people to do what you need them to do? So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Right. I mean, I'll tell you, I've been networking and connecting, building relationships for over 12 years. And essentially this is what the program is. I show you how I did it, how I still do it, because you've got to be relevant with the times. Things are always changing. Right now with COVID, like so much has shifted. And it's like, I don't even want to talk about COVID. We're all tired of hearing it, but it's true. So I actually do have a few people that graduated from the 8-week that are on the call. Jane, are you, or Niall, or either any of you, are you willing to give a quick testimonial? Jane, actually, would you mind? Because I know you already gave me one and I've got you on the screen.
Okay, hi Gelly. Yeah, it was just a really interesting and amazing experience. We learned a lot. I think I put in my testimonial what really I found amazing was that we were a very diverse background from very diverse industries, and Gelly's just able to jump right in and find out exactly what needs to be done, whatever topic you're trying to talk about or whoever you're trying to reach. She just has this amazing ability to zero in on what needs doing. So yeah, really good psychological information. Yeah, fabulous experience. So highly recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jane. Sorry, I did not mean to kind of put you on the spot like that, but you, and I love the testimonial that I actually have on the website because Jane wrote one. She said, it has exceeded my expectations, which I put in bold. I was like, yay, that's always a good testimonial, when someone says it exceeded their expectations. So, yeah, so thank you for that.
I'm still here, Gelly. So yes, I would second everything that Jane said, and I guess I do owe you a testimonial. So I'll take care of that. Feel free to send me an email saying you didn't, as you're very, very good at following up. I did learn a lot from the course, and there are still things to go, but there's other stuff that comes on after that Gelly will tell you about in due course. So yeah, I would recommend it to anyone without any hesitation.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. It's always so much better to, oh, and Chanel, I know you want to give me a testimonial.
Here. I can tell you, I went through the 8-week course back in March, and it has far exceeded and grown. I'm now in the mastermind class, but I refer people to it. I think it's a terrific icebreaker. It's taught me so much. Actually, what I loved about it, it helped me see things I was never even looking for. And so by being able to expand to that, it's helped me recognize so many different areas about business for me, period, and where to look and how to be more focused on what my intent is and who my avatar or who I'm marketing to. I would highly recommend it. I mean, it expands, it will grow you in many different ways in your business, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. All right. And because we're short on time, like I said, I don't really want to, I don't want to turn this into a giant sales pitch here, but I did want to tell you about the program. I will follow up with all of you on it. I'm actually going to put a link in the chat box right now so everybody can have access to it. And then we will cover questions. Okay. So there he goes. Oh, no, I sent it to Chanel by accident to everyone. Okay. So there you go. So everyone has a link to it. And again, I'll follow up with everybody. And I know everyone is wondering, okay, well, it sounds amazing. What's the cost? You can look at the cost here in a minute, but it's, I'm going to share my screen and I'm also going to gear up to send all of you the link that I promised. Okay. So it's $297, $597, and $997. All right. And so it's like the value, I think for $297, the value is incredible. You get the 8 weeks. There's so much in it. And then, oh, you know what I forgot to mention? I have a bonus going on too. This is a marketing gimmick trick. I don't know, but maybe it works. People love bonuses. So what I'm doing for this 8 week is, for all the graduates that actually complete this one, you guys get a full month in my mastermind for free as well. So in the mastermind, it's actually a lot of hands-on work, which is really cool. So there you go. They tell me that the bonuses work. So let's see how well it works this time. I don't know. All right. So any questions on that? We can talk offline because I do want to send everybody the link to all the things that I promised. So it is right here. Here's the link. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and it's going in the chat box right now. So you have access to a folder that is giving you within the folder all these Google documents that I showed and shared with you earlier. They're all sitting in there, so everyone should have access to it. So if somebody maybe wants to try it and just make sure it's working and let me know, that would be awesome. Okay, and now as far as questions, I will stay on as long as needed and answer all your questions. Okay, Anna says it worked for her. Thank you so much. Questions, please unmute yourself if you have questions, because there's so much going on in the chat right now that I possibly missed questions.
Someone asked a question in the chat and I just ran by that yesterday. Is it worth paying for LinkedIn? Is it worth paying that extra bit?
$80 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So it's worth it if you actually use LinkedIn on the daily or like every other day, and you use it to actually generate lists and businesses, and like recruiters use it, right? For recruiters, it makes sense. I've played with it. I've had the paid LinkedIn version on a number of times, like mainly because I like to just play with things and learn them. But I didn't really find that it was more useful for me for my strategy. So I think it really depends on what your strategy is and how you're using LinkedIn. And if $80 a month is in your budget, right, and you're actually using it, then I would say yes, because you get a lot of great features with it. But if you're not going to use the features, then I think the free version is actually is sufficient enough.
Yeah, a lot of it tends to be the number of people you can connect with, number of connections you can, and the level to which you can go as far as second and third degree. So if that's, if you use it just like Gelly was talking about today, it's very, very likely that the free version is sufficient for you. I would wait until your head hits the ceiling of that before you start paying $80 a month. And then if you need more, then consider it.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay. What other questions do we have? There's got to be questions. Unless I was so clear, there aren't any. That could be a reality too.
Do you still have room in your 8-week thing? I'll join if you do. How about that?
I would love to have you, James. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. I got it up. I'll do it here when we sign on.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, we've got a good group going already. I had people signing up for it before I even launched. Oh, I forgot to tell you the start date. It's October 7th. Wednesday, October 7th is when it launches. So yeah, the next few weeks
Cool.
I'll be recruiting heavily. Robert, I
Thank
see
you.
you raising your hand, or are you waving?
I'm raising my hand. I always have a difficult time connecting or reaching out, only because, and I love your approach to relationships, but I always wonder, like I think, why is this person reaching out unless they may know what I do that could help them? So in other words, and I'm going to just say real estate people, because we probably all know dozens of real estate people.
Mhm.
So if I reach out to a real estate person, you know, I'm going to be blunt. I'm not going to give them any business. You know, my son-in-law is a real estate agent, right? So I feel awkward in doing things like that, but yet I know I may be able to help them, but they don't know that if I just, you know, reach out and say, hey, I want to, hey, you know, connect with you, or alumni, and anything like that. So how do you work that type of thing?
Okay, great question. So here's the thing. Just because you meet somebody and you get to know them and you like them, it does not mean you're ever going to do business together.
No,
right?
and I realize that, but, and again, this is just my perspective, and you know more than I do, but being blunt, a percentage, and maybe you have that percentage, connect with people in the back of minds because of business, because they want business.
Sure, but so what?
Okay.
I mean, who cares, right? Like people
But
show
I'm
up.
saying that's just me.
Yeah.
That's my.
No, I get it, but here's the thing. Like that's the wrong agenda. Meaning not like who cares, but I'm saying that's the wrong agenda. Like, you know, when it comes to networking, okay, we're not saying about like sales. Like a lot of people are just come at it from a sales perspective. If we're coming at it from a networking perspective, you're literally looking to build relationships with people and get to know people. They may become a friend, right? That realtor may actually become a really great friend and a really great resource, even if you never give them business, because maybe you connect on some other personal level.
Absolutely.
But you don't know that, you know, and so you're saying, oh, but they're coming in not thinking that. Okay, wonderful. But so put them on your agenda, and don't let them put their agenda onto you.
Okay.
Put them on your agenda. Your agenda is to build a relationship.
Okay.
Right? And if they don't like that, then they can move on to the next person. But you'll find that a lot of people actually respond to that very well, because most people are sitting there and trying to sell to each other, as opposed to actually get to know each other and create that relationship.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think that works for, you know, in-person networking as well as online networking.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Gally. I had a question on your filter system, if you like, where you assess whether the person is, you know, whether it's automated or they've taken any trouble at all and whatever. What I picked up from that, I think, and I just want to validate this with you, is that you might connect with them anyway, but you're not going to reach out and engage. You're not going to hit the reply to Brian button. So, but my sense is that what you're saying is there's no need to filter people out to the extent of hitting ignore. Am I correct in that, or
well, so here's where it depends on your own strategy. Okay, depends on how you're networking on LinkedIn. For me, because I'm a networker and my top of the funnel is to get people on my virtual networking calls, it makes sense for me to connect with business owners, whether they sent me a good note or not a good note. Because I would still like to invite them to my virtual networking call and have them get to know me, you know, just from the network perspective. And, you know, eventually we may end up working together. That's my marketing funnel. That's my strategy. My strategy may not be your strategy. So if you're only looking to connect with people on LinkedIn that you feel have a very definite purpose, then that guy like Brian may not have any purpose to you, and you may not want to connect with them, and that's okay.
Okay, so, but I think it still applies that I may well want to make a new friend, and I have no way of telling that. So am I better off erring on the side of saying yes than saying no. You know my situation, so you can probably
I
answer
think
that in a
if I
meeting.
were you, I think if I were you, I would go and look at their LinkedIn profile, before deciding. And then a lot of times I'll do that. And sometimes before responding, I go and look at them too. Who's this person? What are they about? Right. So I look at them before I respond, if I even respond. I honestly, I'll give you my honest answer. This is like my overall, why would you not connect with somebody? Right? Why would you not? Like, we're all networking on some level. Why would you not connect with them? They may send you, if the only reason to disconnect with somebody is if they start spamming you or they actually start irritating you, then you can disconnect with them. Otherwise, let them be one of your connections. You never know when you actually may need that connection. You never know what you may actually learn from that person, right? Like, somebody may be sent you a generic request note. That doesn't mean that they're not providing a good service.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just never took Gelly's webinar and they have no idea what they're doing.
So I
Right?
should refer them all to you.
Yes, absolutely. Refer them all to me. Yes, I will help people sound more human. Yes, that is a good answer. In fact, I actually suggest that to people. Actually, Jane was on the call. She dropped off, but Jane and I had a chance to do some one-on-one work, and I suggested to her, I said, listen, when you write a note to these women that you connect with on LinkedIn, maybe one of the things that you could do is invite them to my virtual networking event. This way, it's kind of like a soft in-between introduction, where it's almost like she's not saying, hey, let me tell you about you. It's like, hey, you might be interested in networking. So, hey, here's a call I participate in, this group, here's a link. It's free. You can come as my guest. So it's almost like you're doing something for them because you think it might help. There's like this middle ground. So.
Yes, as you know, I have invited several people to your sessions.
I know, I love it. I was more saying that for the group as like a
I understand.
strategy to explain it a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, this is another example of the way you open up the topic by saying, it's not about business necessarily. It's about making contacts, making networking, and meeting fellow human beings. So, that's a way of looking at it that's not quite as commercial and spammy.
Exactly. Like, we're too smart of an audience these days to fall for the spam. As consumers, like, I mean, in 2020, like as consumers as a whole, we get smarter. So the automated things, maybe they appealed a few years ago, they just don't appeal to people anymore. You're going to get a different reaction. So yeah, this means you have to do more work. You have to go dig on there. You've got to find people, but that also means bigger clients if you actually take the time to make a connection with somebody. So few people are doing it, that's how you're going to stand out. You're actually going to stand out by taking time to be human, have a real conversation, make the real connection.
Yes, I had somebody spam me and I had to tell them in no uncertain terms. But thinking about it, it was very useful because I could see the effect it had on me. And I swore never to do that.
Yep. There you go.
So it was useful, but I did want him to stop.
Yeah. I listen, I mean, every time I log into my LinkedIn inbox, it's full of spam, doesn't really affect me. And I mean, I just grab them as examples. To me, it's comical, so, but all right. Great questions. Any other thoughts or questions?
You just give a subtitle to class, Sounding Human for Androids.
Yes. There you go.
Would you repeat that, please? I didn't quite catch it.
A subtitle for this webinar, Sounding Human for Androids. And maybe data will show up next time.
Ha ha ha.
The human app.
Yes. Any questions on the connections or? Nope. So I mean, I don't want to keep you guys. I love that all of you are here, and thank you so much for your time. Just want to be useful. Yeah, Rick, did you have a question? Oh no, I thought you were about to say something.
No questions. Just the fact that it's always great content. Knowing those formulas and understanding that old marketing methods are not what we want to be using for new connections, and that's important, because it's easy to get in that mode of talking with the radio voice, if you will, but online, it sounds fake, and you need to sound human. So it's important.
Yeah. Sound human. There you go. Like, I love that you said that. And I said that in one of my slides. You just have to sound human. And that's what's going to get you to stand out. That's, if you're going to take away one thing, take away that. So, okay. I think that's it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for being here. Again, it was great to see those of you I haven't seen in a while, and always a pleasure to see returning faces. So I will follow up with everyone. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. And I hope to see some of you in the 8-week. James will be there. I'll be there.
Right.
A few other people will be there. It's going to be fun. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
I know.